Yeah, I mean, we talked about it at length as a staff, and we looked at Matty's numbers off of left-handers and how much damage he's done this year, and we chose to go that way.
Any concern because he hasn't had an at-bat?
Yeah, there's some concern, which was part of the reason I had him take about 7 or 8 at-bats yesterday to try to, so he'd get used to that, velocity and seeing movement on pitches. So there's some concern.
Other questions? Right here. Joe, in the last series, the Yankees did an admirable job of quieting the bats of the Indians. How do you expect, what kind of challenge do you expect that might be against this offense, the Astros, which not only led the league in offense, but also came off of a very hot opening series?
Yeah, I mean, we know it's challenging. You have to make your pitches. And you have to make pitch after pitch. You can't give them free base runners. You can't walk people. You can't make errors because they are so dangerous. You got to pay attention to their aggressiveness on the base paths. I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to do to this offense to try to contain it. So it starts with, quality pitches, getting ahead, and not letting them get in counts where they can really do a lot of damage.
Other questions? Ken, right here.
Joe, the 2012 team won the division series in 5 games, but not coming back down 0-2. Just wondering, how much do you look at what you guys did, are kind of riding a wave now off of the 5-game series versus just trying to manage any exhaustion?
Yeah, when you talk about trying to manage exhaustion, I think the emotions of playing in the playoffs negates a lot of that. It's different if it's the regular season and you get in at 5 o'clock in the morning and you're playing. We had a night off and guys had a chance to run around yesterday and to try to get some of that out of them and probably went to sleep fairly early last night. But I think the excitement of this is what carries you through. It's your adrenaline. And, being down, 0-2 to Cleveland and being able to come back, I think, is obviously it's a tremendous feat, but, it allows your guys to understand that you have the ability to come back. And I think that's important against a really good team. I mean, we faced a really good team in the Cleveland Indians, and, one game at a time, and just take it from there.
Meredith?
Joe, how vital a role do you think the bullpen will play in this series, and how pleased were you with the way they elevated their game in the ALDS?
Well, I think it's been a formula for us, since we really made those trades, but really for a long time here, the bullpen has been extremely important, and we added depth in Robertson and Canely, and the emergence of Green has really helped us out. And I think they're going to play a vital role, again, because this is a team that, they talk about, working pitchers, but they talk about getting your pitch. And so if we make quality pitches, hopefully we can get ahead of them and they don't do a lot of damage. But I think your bullpen is going to be really important in this series.
In the second row, Joe.
Joe, how much time did you find yourself spending on trying to figure out how to keep Jose Altuve off the base paths?
Well, I mean, I think that obviously he's a tremendous player. There's a lot of guys in that lineup you got to figure a way to keep off the bases, not just him. I mean, they've had guys that have had great years. They have 4 or 5 guys that are near 90 RBIs or above 90 RBIs. They have a couple others in the 70s. I mean, they're just a complete lineup, and I think they can beat you in so many ways. So I think that your focus has to be one hitter at a time. It can't be, okay, we can't let this guy beat us, because they have about 8 or 9 guys that can beat you, and that's why it's a tough lineup to navigate through.
Right here in the second row. Severino really bounced back after the wild card game. Were there any conversations that somebody on the staff or a veteran on the team had with him? I mean, he seems to have a lot of confidence naturally, but I'm wondering if there was a specific experience that uplifted him.
Well, I think Larry talked to him a lot, and I'm sure some of the other guys got to him and talked to him. And, the thing about this game is, Derek Jeter said it great. He said, stay humble or this game will humble you. And you really have to learn to bounce back in this game. And really anything in life, any sport, any job, you're going to have your bad days, and you got to learn to bounce back. And I think Sevy understands that. Sevy spent a whole year trying to bounce back last year, and he figured it out. And it really turned about the last week in spring training for Sevy, and I think that experience probably helped him.
Other questions? Right here. Thanks. You've been facing Justin Verlander for years. What qualities stick out about him?
Oh, he's a fierce competitor. You know, besides the great stuff he has, I mean, he's got great stuff. He's got 4 pitches and throws hard, and they got great movement. But he's going to fight and fight and fight, and that's who he is. And so, you know, our job is to fight him back. I mean, it's to match his competition level and make him work. And he's very talented. He's pitched great since he's come over here. I believe he's 7-0 and has even elevated his game more. So it's another challenge tomorrow.
Anything else for Joe? Billy, to your left, Joe.
Just the games that Tanaka has pitched against the Astros. I mean, is there a tell for you tonight of just what he has to stay away from, or just a concern that?
Yeah.
It's gonna tell?
Well, it's a dangerous offense. So again, you're going to have to locate with good movement. His slider's going to have good break. His split's going to have that good downward plane like it did his last 2 starts. And if he does that, he's going to be able to compete. And it's like any other pitcher. If you don't have your ace stuff against this lineup, they're probably going to make you pay.